Hey, my name's Tom, and about half a year ago, I quit my job back home in Germany. I left everything I had behind to go on a 5-month adventure across 7 countries, and this is my story. In the last episode, I hopped on a boat from mainland Bali to Nusa Penida. Of course, I ticked off some of the common tourist attractions like Broken Beach and Kalinking Beach. I also unexpectedly got to snorkel with turtles and visited some of the lesser known spots like the freshwater pool at the Tambling Forest, before boarding yet another boat to sail over to Gili. I enjoyed some really slow days on Gili tea with my friends Lachlan and Hamish from Ubud. Sure, we had to visit the underwater statues at Gili too. After 5 days, I went back to Canggu to meet up with my friend Trish, who I met weeks before in New Zealand. On my last evening, we checked out the sunset at Tanah Lot Temple before it was time to say goodbye to Bali and hello Vietnam. So this is it. Welcome to Hanoi, Vietnam. Yeah, I flew into Hanoi, Vietnam yesterday pretty late, just got into the hostel and just had a nap, or basically just fell asleep instantly because I was really tired. And this is also because even though I was fine for about 2 weeks in Bali, not getting Bali belly, it feels like the very last meal I had in Bali that I had together with Trish actually gave me Bali belly. It's not as bad as some other Bali belly cases that I've experienced over my time there, but still I feel pretty compromised. I have to do things very slow. I feel very drained, and yeah, having 34 degrees here doesn't really help it. So I wanted to really pack all my days in Hanoi. I have 3 of them, full with all the things that you can do in the city, doing all the food stuff, all these things. But yeah, in fact, I actually have to take it very slow and just wander around the city today in very much in slow motion, having a lot of breaks. This is my first stop here, which is on Keem Lake. Yeah, but we'll see how it goes. For now, I'll just do my slow motion walk around the old quarter of Hanoi and check out all the cool things that they have here. I ventured around the Literature Temple, which is only accessible by a redwood bridge and one of the old quarter highlights of Hanoi. In the evening, despite feeling pretty shit, I experienced the incredible charm that the old quarter has with all its street food and street markets. So, second day in Hanoi, Vietnam. And good news first, Bali belly is slowly getting better, but it's not really at the stage that I want to have it at. So I'll spare you with all the details. But then I woke up to bad news, actually, really bad news. I think that is one of the biggest down points that I had on this trip. So I was supposed to meet up with one of my best uni friends from Germany. He was going to join me on the Vietnam leg in about a week, or from now on just 4 days or so. And then we were supposed to have 2 weeks to get from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, and I was so looking forward to it, and I know he was too. Because we really wanted to do this trip. And then this morning he texted me that he had a football injury and he can't make it because now he is in hospital and needs to get his foot fixed. And yeah, this is very annoying. I was so looking forward to have, of course, a travel buddy, but also my best friend to join me. That is very sad, and I think we both don't really enjoy the situation. But yeah, now I have to make the best of it and just do the solo traveling for a couple of weeks more than I actually thought I was doing. With more energy than the day before, I hopped on a grab bike and started to tick off some of the Hanoi tourist attractions. This is St. Joseph's Cathedral, which pretty much resembles Notre Dame, only it's not half burnt down. So that one was constructed between 1884 and 1886. and with that it was one of the very first buildings or very first colonial buildings in French Indonesia. And yeah, that is one of the interesting things about Hanoi, that you would find so many different influences from different cultures. Of course, Hanoi is Vietnamese, but it has a lot of Chinese influences. But then because of the time of the colonial era, you also have a lot of French influences, and that definitely is one of the most known ones. So there's the Maison Centrale, the Ha Giang Loop prison, which was being a prison for enemies of the regime. But also then they had American war prisoners in this one, and ironically they called it the Hilton Hanoi, so the American prisoners. Yeah, I'm going to go inside that one and do a little tour, I think. I'm not sure whether they do tours or you just explore this on your own. I can highly recommend Ha Giang Loop prison, as it gives a long-lasting impression of some of the darker chapters of Vietnamese history. I passed by the famous train street but didn't stay there, as I had to catch yet another grab bike to attend a walking tour around the old quarter, which I had booked before. Our guide was great and gave interesting insights into the history of the Literature Temple with its preserved softshell turtles who used to live in the lake. But also she had to tell quite a few stories about the infamous Hanoi Beer Street.
Because if you like parties, then come back here at night time. All over the street will be filled with a lot of people drinking alcohol.
Continuing with the Old Quarter food market, we got to experience a short deep dive into the Hanoi food culture with all its variety. On day 3 in Hanoi, it was finally time to hop on my first of many Vietnamese sleeper buses to head all the way up north to the Ha Giang Loop. The Ha Giang Loop rose to fame as one of the best, if not the best adventure that tourists can embark on when in northern Vietnam. Starting off in the city of Ha Giang, the loop is a multi-day motorcycle tour through the outstanding landscape of Vietnam's most northern province. While the Jasmine Hostel tour is definitely the most famous one, I chose the Ha Giang Hostel tour as their groups were a lot smaller and less party focused. In mixed weather conditions, we started our 3-day tour on one of the most dangerous roads in Vietnam. While nobody in the rest of Vietnam cares if you have a motorcycle license, on the loop there are plenty of police checkpoints to check driving licenses and giving out hefty fines for anyone who isn't allowed to drive a bike. But while the tour operators could just make you go on the back of an easy rider, they will still let you self-drive without the license and play this whole hide-and-seek game with the police, trying to avoid police control stations all along the way. Once the weather got better and we arrived at the first main viewpoint of the first day's leg, everyone in our group started to slowly realize that an amazing adventure was ahead of us.
So nice. Shit.
Our last stop of the day was a refreshing one, visiting the Du Gia waterfall together with a whole bunch of other loop tourists. After that, it was time for some delicious food and lots of happy water, a Vietnamese moonshine rice spirit at our super cozy homestay. I mean, how can I even describe the feeling when you get to wake up to this?
The second leg got even more scenic, and the next viewpoints had it all.
I mean, there's like legit awesomeness.
Views on views, and as a group we bonded more and more, enjoying every bit of this day and being super hyped about every kilometer that was still to come. With only that one little drawback that was going through the back of my mind constantly: driving a motorbike with no legit license to do so.
So I think I just got really lucky because we just passed the police station, and I don't have an international driver's license that allows me to drive bikes, only scooters, but I'm still self-driving, and usually we have a spy in the group that goes ahead like 1 or 2 kilometers or even more, and then checks out whether there's any police control stations where they take you out and check your license whether you're entitled to drive or not. But this time, for some reason, the spy wasn't ahead, and then we just passed this police station, and like we just went, and I did the same thing as all the others. I was just like honking, going, and they looked at me, but they didn't do anything. They didn't take me out. Maybe we caught them by surprise or something. But I've been so lucky because if they get you, they fine you like 3 million dong, which is something like, I don't know, like 200 euros. It's like a lot of money though. Yeah, so I'm like super happy that they actually didn't get me, that I just got through. But apparently I've been super lucky, and even the easy riders from our group, they said like, oh, like they were like thumbs up and like, you're lucky. Yeah, so now we just stopped because now we have to tell the other group, which has a lot of people who can't ride because they, or well, who can ride but don't have a driver's license. And our guide goes over to the next group, tries to phone them and tell them that they now need to kind of switch the driver, so that the guys who are self-driving go in the back seat to pass the police station or the police control station, and then get on their bikes again.
And then it was time for the second day's highlight: floating through the mind-boggling Tucson Canyon. All hyped up after this experience, we even managed the super tough and muddy parts that were waiting for us right after leaving the canyon. And then it was again time for happy water and a tipsy cultural exchange at our next homestay.
I thought it was a bong, another one, but it's not.
The third and last day, of course, was yet another endless series of insane roads and even more insane viewpoints. Everyone in our group, Tira from Germany, Elin from Sweden, Angel from Australia and Claire from Luxembourg, agreed on that the beauty we had experienced these 3 days was almost hard to comprehend. And we also all agreed on that it was just as amazing as everyone before us was telling us it was gonna be. For me, it was definitely right up there with the best experiences I had on this trip, and quite possibly one of the best experiences I had in my entire life. So if you ever get to North Vietnam, do the loop. I mean, seriously, do it.
Alright. So, I'm back in Hanoi. Just came back from Ha Giang yesterday, and now I have 1/2 day in Hanoi to check out some more sites that I haven't seen. And the first thing that I'm going to do is go into the Ha Giang Memorial, or it's actually a mausoleum, where they have the embalmed body of Ho Chi Minh, who of course is Vietnam's probably the biggest national hero. I'm doing my way there and then meet up with Chantal, who I met at the Ha Giang Loop, and then she's in Hanoi too. I'm flying out to Germany this day.
Visiting Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum was an interesting but odd experience, being shoved past the embalmed body of Vietnam's biggest hero, alongside 100 other people, all in an orderly queue. We decided to top off things with a coffee at the famous train street, and got incredibly lucky, as one of only 2 trains that were supposed to come past this day drove past us right when we sat down, and that was quite a spectacle. Despite health issues and the bad news I received from Germany, I had the best time over the past days in Hanoi and especially on the Ha Giang Loop. Yet I felt quite ready to explore all the things that were lying ahead of me in this rather intriguing country.
So it is another morning on Cat Ba Island.
We're cruising around Lan Ha Bay fishing village.
And I'm in Tam Kok, the inland Ha Long Bay. I'm here. I'm up at the Mua Cave viewpoint. And that was the last time this drone ever produced any footage. Alright, so I guess I've made it to the ancient capital of the ancient Vietnam.